Friends, I invite us to rest in this love together this morning. Thich Nhat Hanh offers a most essential foundation for mindfulness breathing practice, a way for us to be here rather than lost in the past, or in the future. I sometimes get lost in the future. And so breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. Breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. It is amazing how those words can bring me back to myself, and I share them and invite you into them this morning. Breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. Friends, I invite you to rub your hands together if this is available to you, until you start to feel a warmth. And then hold them apart. You might even feel a little resistance energy sparkling. It's pretty amazing with atoms and electrons, all of these things. And I invite you to breathe in and bring that warmth to your heart if you wish. And together we will take 3 breaths. Breathing in. We give thanks for this journey. Breathing out. We know we are not alone. Breathing in. We will shine with courage. Breathing out. We trust that this circle will hold us. Breathing in. We are loving. And breathing out. We are loved. Thank you, friends. Our anthem on this day of celebrating and honoring faith formation and religious exploration is 3 Deep Breaths, written and performed by Derek Nelson and family, Derek Dalton and Rihanna Nelson.
Here along the highway, there's a rhythm to the day. And if you listen to it sideways, it'll almost slip away. If you're searching for a purpose and a God that doesn't speak, well, you'll realize that it's all one big game of hide and seek. So where do we go? What were you hoping for? Everything is gonna be alright. Let go of the troubles on your mind. It only takes 3 deep breaths and a beat in your chest to know that you'll start over again. Everybody's working to make it up the hill. Every day's an opportunity. Do with it what you will. It's all about the balance. It's all about the pace. If you only see the finish, you're gonna miss out on the race. So where do we go? What were you hoping for? Everything is gonna be alright. Let go of the troubles on your mind. It only takes 3 deep breaths and a beat in your chest to know that you'll start over again. Use me as an armrest, I'll use you as a crutch. We all need someone to lean on, even if it don't mean much. So love me like a brother, you can love me like a friend. But one way or another, I'm gonna love you till the end. Everything's gonna be alright. Let go of the troubles on your mind. It only takes 3 deep breaths and a beat in your chest to know that you'll start over, to know that you'll start over, to know that you'll start over again.
Ooh. And your computer decides to move everything around just in time for the sermon. Beloveds, these rituals of transition and bridging take time, and we give thanks and honor the lives. Unitarian Universalists share a living tradition that draws from many sources, including the words and deeds of prophetic people, which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Our faith tradition's philosophy of religious education, religious exploration, calls us to recognize that the words and deeds of prophetic people includes children and youth, who have often been leaders in calling communities in to become more loving and just with their deeds and words of prophetic wisdom. One of our written histories of Unitarian Universalist youth movements, a book called We Would Be One, tells us adolescence is one period in life when people become acutely aware of the powers that impinge upon them from within, such as their own sexuality, as well as the powers that impinge on them from without, such as institutional restrictions. Adolescence is also a time when individuals can find within themselves the personal power to actively respond to these powers. Witnessing and participating in the awakening of youth to their own personal power to work towards spiritually grounded justice as Unitarian Universalists is exhilarating and sustaining through the intensity of faith formation. Today, we witness transitions and bridging within our beloved UU community here at Westside, celebrating a UU faith formation journey that many adults in our faith did not begin until we were well into adulthood. It matters that adults remember when speaking to a UU youth raised in a UU congregation that the youth may have been a Unitarian Universalist for a decade or more than the adult. Adults, we are invited to truly listen when youth speak. It is the youth who led in the very merger of Unitarianism and Universalism with the merger of our Unitarian and Universalist youth organizations. The Universalist Youth People's Christian Union, founded in 1889, and the Unitarian Young People's Religious Union, founded in 1896, merged to create the Liberal Religious Youth, LRY, in 1953, 8 years before the consolidation of the Unitarian and Universalist denominations to become the Unitarian Universalist Association. And it is the Youth Caucus at General Assembly that has been calling our faith tradition towards collective liberation and beloved accountability for all the decades since. My senior year of college, I took a course on revolutions around the world. And that's when I learned that the average age of leaders of revolution throughout history was. Any guesses? Any guesses in the chat box? If you want to make a guess, you are welcome to make a guess now. 2001, 2002, 2003. 18. 18 was the average age of revolutionary leaders throughout history. So we celebrate religious exploration and faith formation, and we are very, very clear that it matters that we honor the experience and insights of the youngest among us. During General Assembly 2005 in Fort Worth, Texas, my first ever General Assembly, I attended a workshop called The Witness. It was led by the Faithful Fools, an organization founded in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco. The Faithful Fools philosophy is based on the belief that to help anyone who is suffering, you must nurture a relationship with them. The witness tells the story of Tracy, a young woman living in the upscale San Francisco neighborhood of No Valley. When a homeless woman intrudes into the young woman's life, it sets off a transformative valley journey that leads her downtown, where she meets the faithful fools, goes on a street retreat, and bears witness to the poverty, deprivation, and humanity that exists there. On her journey, Tracy discovers that she must confront her own assumptions before she can enter wholeheartedly into the community of all living beings. To put it lightly, the story made a big impression on me. And I decided that if I ever spent time in San Francisco, I would participate in a street retreat with the faithful fools. And then there was a hurricane and a flood, and I forgot all about it. The universe, however, works in mysterious ways, and I believe has a strong bend towards beloved accountability. So 5 years later, much to my surprise, I found myself living a half hour south of San Francisco, serving as an intern minister with the Unitarian Universalist of San Mateo. My assigned portfolio with the congregation included co-facilitating our coming of age, our 8th to 10th grade program at the church. When I was also invited to serve as a Wisdom Circle leader for the Pacific Central District South, because California is huge, coming of age retreats, I joyfully accepted. There were 3 district-wide retreats for the coming of age program. The first retreat was committed to the 5 steps of building community described in the essential UU resource, Deep Fun. Bonding, opening up, affirming, stretching, deeper sharing, and goal setting. We opened up during Theater of the Oppressed exercises, stretched and bonded on a ropes course in a redwood forest where I too walked my first tightrope and flew along my first zip line, affirming and sharing deeply as we processed the experiences and we set goals for our social justice retreat scheduled in January. The Social Justice Street Retreat was a call to reflective action and was facilitated by, guess who? The Faithful Fools. And when I realized that not only would I get a chance to engage with the Faithful Fools, I had to go work with them, I laughed out loud. I mean, I thought I would have to struggle to make sure it happened, and instead a street retreat came to me by virtue of saying yes to coming of age. So beloveds, remember, many gifts come from the realm of religious exploration. Coming of age youth spent their street retreat in pairs in the Tenderloin, shadowed by an adult who has experienced a street retreat before. So in order to serve as a shadower, adults must have experienced a solo street retreat of their own. So here it was, my chance to honor a GA vow and grow my own faith. On a cold and rainy, because of course it was, December day, I headed up to San Francisco for my solo street retreat. Standing in line at a soup kitchen, because the Faithful Fools invites us to experience the food line as one of the helped instead of one of the helpers. And so, for instance, I learned that to get lunch, you had to get in line early. And I stood in line for over an hour that day. All of a sudden, tensions broke out around me, some death threats erupting between 2 men waiting in line behind me. Now, before that eruption, I had been in conversation with Tori Page, a trans youth standing beside me, tall in her fashionable boots. I'd been thinking about how vulnerable he was in our society, wondering what I could do as a minister to make the world a more loving place for her. As the threat of violence intensified around us, Tori Page leaned into me and said, "Don't worry. If something happens, I will protect you." And Z would have. It was a profoundly humbling and holy moment. Those of us who work to undo negative hierarchies of power understand the humanizing nature of service, understand that in the act of caregiving and caretaking, we make ourselves vulnerable, writes Bell Hooks, acclaimed intellectual, feminist theorist, cultural critic, artist, and writer. And in that place of shared vulnerability, there is the possibility of recognition, respect, and mutual partnership. I had entered the street retreat with a mindful intention of bearing holy witness, of moving out of the traditional helping savior service model. This moment with Tori Page invited me into viscerally rewriting my assumptions about power and partnership. The experience was religious education at its most transformative, faith formation in real time. Less than a month later, I was back on the streets shadowing 2 UU youth as they explored the Tenderloin district on their own street retreat. Both coming of agers were from the suburbs, not city people by training or instinct. And I continually gave thanks for the brightness of the day as they turned into dark alley after dark alley, wandering through drug deals and other street negotiations, seemingly oblivious to the dynamics engaged around them, challenging me to provide them enough space for their own experience without compromising their physical safety. It was a long and interesting day. And I wondered then how or if this experience would live in their memories. What, if anything, would stay with them? And that spring, I received the rare gift in ministry of actually hearing my internal questions answered out loud. At the conclusion of the final retreat in the depths of a redwood forest, youth were invited to attend an elder council. And the youth named the street retreat as an experience that had most deeply affected them and their spiritual journey, opening their eyes to injustice and their common humanity in whole new ways, and making real for them that we really do have to work together to make the world a more loving place. American theologian Parker Palmer once wrote, "Neither truth nor love tends to flow freely when we are comfortably in the middle of society, successful in society's terms, profiting from the way things are arranged. Certain crucial truths about our lives are more easily seen when we are on the edge, at the margin, when we are poor or sick or hungry or in prison, and these truths can break the heart open to compassion." Unitarian Universalist faith formation can be a never-ending invitation to experience crucial, ever-emergent truths that can break our hearts open to compassion, to connection, to collective liberation. In Acts of Faith, interfaith activist Eboo Patel asked, how does one ordinary young person's commitment to a religion turn into a suicide mission, and another ordinary young person's commitment to that same faith become an organization devoted to pluralism? The answer, he believes, lies in the influences young people have, the programs and people who shape their religious identities. I agree. Faith formation is about showing up in the world as a person of faith, living out religious values, showing up in congregations to practice beloved community. It means showing up to everyone as a teacher and a learner, willing always to rewrite our assumptions about power and partnership. My experience with the Faithful Fools and the Coming of Age UU Youth deeply informs my commitment to creating spaces where people with mutual learning occurs in covenantal relationships of listening, acting, and reflecting. Here we can realize in the wisdom of the revolutionary religious educator, Sophia Lyon-Faz, that life never ceases to be a giving and a receiving. Later in my intern ministry, while co-leading a dialogue on race and ethnicity, Adore, I was struck by how powerfully the participation of a 14-year-old UU affected this group, whose ages spanned over 7 decades. The shared vulnerability of giving and receiving across multiple boundaries of identity and power allowed for real interaction and a mutuality of learning that would not have occurred without his presence, his faithful gift of showing up. I have been called to teach and therefore to learn from 4-year-olds, 44-year-olds, and 84-year-olds. And in each learning situation, I have found the following to be true. Listening deeply, sharing stories and experiences that shine light on connection, acting and reflecting with recognition and respect are all essential elements of faith formation, of educating religiously. Religious education is embodied learning, a part of our whole lives, not confined to Sunday mornings or to children. Modeling and mentoring, connecting and exploring, acting and reflecting, giving and receiving, risking and respecting. These are core components of Unitarian Universalist religious education, a lifelong commitment of faith formation. Today we honor and celebrate the teacher and the learner in each of us at every age. Today we bear witness to the roots and the wings of our faith. We honor Cynthia and Cheryl and 56 volunteers and the whole of this congregation and every child and youth and young adult. May we claim the wisdom of all the ages, each of us learning and loving in this collective journey of faith formation. We celebrate religious exploration, the ever unfolding mystery of this universe. We can keep learning and loving together. We can choose to shine. And beloveds, you are invited to rise and shine, embody your spirit, as we sing our ascending hymn number 118, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Oh, let us shine, beloveds. Our closing words come from Mary Eads' Shine. Like the cosmic dust following after a great Perseid meteor, we are the living remnants of time and all that has come to pass in its wake, briefly shining lights on the way to eternity. We are only visible to the naked eye for an instant. Take this moment to shine like the stardust you are. May the light of our time on earth shine to bless the world and each other. Shine, shine, shine. We release this chalice flame and commit to shining in the world together. Our service concludes with the singing of the fivefold Amen. Please join hands and body or spirit wherever you are as we sing together. Dear ones, you are invited to enjoy a postlude gift played by John Hanson, and then join us in virtual coffee hour as you're willing and able by clicking on a link provided in the chat box. Thank you so much to Cheryl for being our chat chaplain today. That link is also in the Worship Blast email sent to you this morning. And there is a separate link already posted, thank you, Cheryl, if you wish to join in a collective sharing circle in honor of the life of Patty Hooper. Our time together may be ending, but our call to service in the world has only begun. May you leave this space with a heart of peace and compassion, ready to love the hell out of this world. Thank you for choosing to be a part of this faith community. This circle will hold you. Shine on, beloveds.